Today we are keeping on in the spirit of not building in the docks for 2 episodes straight. I feel like I'm missing that place, but it's alright. I've got some very, very big projects coming up, and in fact, this is possibly my most ambitious project I am going to take on in this world to date. I think the buildings are fairly simple. You'll see what I'm talking about. Whatever the title says, it's only a little scratch on the surface of what I want this project to be. So we are starting off at the mysterious X. This X is actually in the dead center. Well, it's not really the dead center, but as central to this island as I could have made it. You should see a map coming up in some very near episodes, which could give a bit more context, but if not, just check back to the last world tour and you'll get some idea of what we are actually standing on. So as I say, this project has got a lot to do with the blue X that I marked out a very long time ago, and what it is basically my entire series of vanilla Minecraft and every series I've done before on vanilla Minecraft. I've had one mega idea that I want to build a beautiful city, and I think I'm getting closer and closer to doing that every episode and every series for that matter. If you look back at the older ones, they are absolutely terrible. Things that I thought looked good definitely don't. But basically, what I want to do is I want to build the best city I possibly can. And my goal is not to just have this beautiful city that we can walk through, but to have the city come to life. And Minecraft has got villagers in the game, and I've never put them properly into my city and had them survive. And that is what we're going to start today. So today, we're going to start a villager breeder, which is going to help us out on 2 things. It's going to be the start to our very big project that I've just kind of explained to the surface. It does get a lot more complicated than what you might think, and I'll explain that as we go, but don't worry about that. But the other thing is, I still do not have any mending on any of my tools, and I'm about to undertake a huge biome transformation right around here. And I gotta tell you, if you're doing terraforming, if you're making your own biomes, you better have mending, else you're going to be very inefficient. And I certainly do not want to be super inefficient. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to, after 90 episodes, cheese our way to getting a librarian with mending. I don't care what we have to pay for it. I need mending. That's pretty much the bottom line. Now, I am going to build a villager breeder in here. It is not my own design, but I'm going to do it very quickly. It's not going to be the whole episode. As I say, I'm just going to get it in here and then we can get the episode started. If you guys want to know what design I'm going to be using a video linked in the description, of course. And it's a design by Wattles. And if you guys have searched for a villager breeder, you've probably come across this one. And just like that, 2 seconds later, everything is completely built. It's one of the quickest farms I've actually built. Not even kidding. Like, this did take 2 seconds in terms of the video. It took me probably 20 minutes, including all of the decorations, which I had to go and find myself. I didn't prep the decorations for this, but I thought, you know what? I'm not going to leave this as a full-on stone and granite and all that sort of stuff room. I'm going to make it look a little bit more interesting. We'll eventually get the roof. It's not a big deal. I think the fact that we've done a little bit more than what we usually would do to a farm is enough already. But this farm here was super quick, and I have tested it in creative to make sure it does still work in 1.14.4, and it certainly does. So while I'm here, just because this is kind of relevant to the way that we build the world and the way I'm thinking of this world, the forest that we've got here. I don't want to put this particular farm in the forest because I think the villager noises will look a bit silly. This island, I think I will never come to, so this isn't a big deal. Now, you may be wondering, why not put this in the city itself, which is going to be all the way out that direction. There's our docks. It'll be just past the docks. And that's a pretty good question, but the way that villager mechanics work is that the village that it creates, like the pretend village, pretend that that's a village that we've just created with those beds there, that makes a village over there. And every villager within that certain amount of blocks, I think it's 100 blocks, I don't actually know, I'm just going to move them way far away that I don't have to worry about that. But every villager in that counts towards the population of the village. So if the village has only got a certain amount of beds, it can only support a certain number of villagers in the population, which is obviously a problem if you've got too many villagers bumped up there. So we breed them on the island, we shoot them with a tube all the way over here to the center of our village, and then this is where it gets a little bit more tricky and a little bit more complicated, as I say. But you know what? I think I can describe it while still keeping you guys with me. So basically what it'll do is it'll go all the way to that X underground, of course. And then what we have is a distribution room. And this is where it, as I say, gets a little bit complicated. But picture this. We have a room that has got a whole bunch of tubes. And we'll have redstone that we can push, for instance, a button and send villagers to the docks. We could have another button which could send any villager that comes through to the middle of the village. And we could have a whole bunch of those tubes just distributing villagers all around the village so that while we are in our world, we'll continuously have a whole bunch of villagers getting replenished as they, of course, walk into berry bushes and make friends with zombies. Now, while we're on our way to go and get ourselves our first 4 villages for our farm to work, I have gone ahead in creative and planned out exactly what I'm going to do, and it looks a little bit more complicated than what it is, but basically I've tested out everything from the village breeding to getting the baby villages and adult villages separated to having a little bit of a distribution system. And I think it actually is going to be fairly simple, but think of how it's going to impact this world. You're going to be walking through the village. You're going to see a whole bunch of librarians and blacksmiths and all these guys with their different traits, which is super cool, by the way, that they have got all these super cool traits. But you'll be walking past them as you're building and as we're going through our world. And instead of us waiting till the very end, we may as well have them now. Here we are coming in with the final of our 4 villages that we needed. Check this out. I've got this cool tunnel. This actually bugged out on me once. So basically, this is going to take us right down into our villager breeder. But look how fast you go. You go super fast. Yeah, you take a little bit of damage. Poor villager. Look at that. Straight in. Oh, yes. I need to sleep. You've already got your... Okay, good. That guy's already got his profession. Nice. And there's a baby. I just noticed there's a baby villager. Okay, well, what I was coming in here to do was to say, I hope that this actually does breed, and we should see if this actually works. And it looks like it actually does. But one thing I'm surprised about, because I've just thrown a bunch of carrots over to these guys. I thought they would end up doing this themselves. But... What? Oh, I'm trying to eat it, that's why. But it seems like they only plant and bury... Or, wait, why can I not plant anything in there? Does that mean there's not enough light? There might not be a high enough light level. That is probably it, because one of those is meant to be right over there. All right, so that's all right. That's easy for me to fix. But yeah, I thought these guys would just plant them naturally, but I guess they just pick things up and plant directly as they pick it up. So that's all right, nice and easy. I know that it's working, which is great. Now, our next stage is, of course, getting a librarian. One thing I thought about with this was to put a lectern in as one of these here, which wouldn't have been a big deal, but I was kind of concerned because they've got a weird bounding box that one of these guys would just walk under and get stuck. So I thought, you know what, I'll just leave that and get one of these guys to become our very first librarian. So the goal is get the librarian and keep resetting it until we have a mending trade. And I'm not even sure if it's possible to reset it, to be honest, but I'm going to try. I gotta say, while we're doing this, I do love building these farms, and it's a breath of fresh air to do something a little bit different to building. Although, I've gotta say, I have been waiting to do this biome right now. I'm just itching to get that stuff, just because I want to see what all that texture looks like spread across a big floor, and then of course all the trees. I'm looking very forward to that, but of course this has to happen for me to have the tools to be able to do that. So, you know what? We've got to make a few little sacrifices and then we'll get there in the end. But what I've been up to, because look at this. See this diamond pickaxe? Look at that durability. That guy has been doing some work since the last clip. If you have a look at the last clip when we were just getting those villagers in, this was practically full. I've made a huge tunnel from this villager breeder all the way to the center, and bear in mind, as I say, this is only a scratch on the surface of what we're going to be doing. We've got some pretty big stuff for this. So once we've got this done, everything should be going a bit crazy. All right, so let's get in here. The villagers are bred. They fall down this little tube over here, and we'll be smart and block that off so big guys don't fall down there. And I haven't quite tested it out, because we've got a few of these villages, but a few have fallen there. So what I wanted to do here was take a bit of water and switch this thing on. So if we go here, everything should work. Yep, goodbye. See you later. See you later, buddy. And of course, these will normally be baby villagers. They won't be these guys. It's just that I've taken quite a while to do this. So you can see there, they get pulled all the way away. Here we go. Our first victim. And there he goes. Just down like that. And of course, that is good to get rid of those villagers so that the villager breeder can continuously produce more and more villagers, they'll get sent along this tube, and you can see they just kind of go up to the block, boop, up, and back down again. And then they just keep going forward. So that's very convenient. The other thing is, when you get to the end, you can see a few that are actually just ahead of these guys there. I think it's going to be real weird. We're going to have villager faces in our face. No, we're good. All right, so you can see a few of them have already fallen down and moved along. And once we get to the end here, we can now get our librarian. And I think this is going to be easier said than done, but I'm going to give it a go. And then, of course, once we've got that, we can start thinking about the future and what I want this thing to do. Okay, let's get ourselves that librarian, and I've got to quickly catch you up on some stuff because I've taken a bit more time. This episode's actually taken a lot longer than I was expecting, but I've just been getting carried away with all these little projects that I think are cool, just things for the in-between period. So you can see here, these are going to be the chutes that villagers are going to drop down, so we could trade with them for now. But this isn't going to be a trading hall, and to be honest, this is not going to be permanent. I just wanted something that looked a little bit nicer. So this is the redstone that I've done just to keep this fairly simple and make sure that I don't get villagers getting thrown all over the place. Pretty easy. This cart picks a villager up. They go up to the top here and get dropped into one of those tubes. And the way that we say which tube they get dropped in is just by flicking a switch. So right now, the villager that we should pick up should get dropped in on that trapdoor. And what will happen is there's a little activator rail over there. When the minecart drops him off, so it drops him off there, he gets stuck on there, the minecart hits that activator rail and powers that little bit of redstone right in there and drops the villager down. It should be pretty easy, and I'll be honest, this is my first one I've done in this world. I've done one in creative, but this will be my first one in this world. I've tested myself in there, so push that button. Guy gets picked up. He got launched. What the heck? He got absolutely hammered into there. But there we go. Second one in there. Let's test it out with another one. We will put him in the end one. I really should have put these on the side here so I could have got them a bit easier. But we'll put this guy in the very end. So if I push the button again, pick him up. Okay, he didn't get quite as crazily launched, but there we go. Nice and easy. So that's the way that this thing's going to work. And imagine these as a tube. I could have this guy sent off to a faraway land, which will be good. That's the plan. In fact, we will get to that. But temporarily, this is going to be my little villager trading post. So if I can do that, get that guy. Look at how cool is that? That actually looks really good. So do you have some trades for me? You do. All right. So I'm going to do a little bit of trading. I'm going to test this out. I'm not too sure what the best way to get this is. Maybe there's a chance of getting one on here, but I highly doubt it. But I'll just keep refreshing this until I get something. We've done it, guys. We finally got our mending villager. I might have punched this guy in the face a few times, but I've learned a lot in the past 5 minutes with villagers. I've learned that I can break and replace that until I get the mending book, which is a bit cheesy, and that's what I was talking about. I really didn't want that to be the case, but eventually we would have had to just get mending somehow. And I mean, this is better than me just waiting around for a few more hours to do each villager as they come along, so I don't mind that. But then the other thing is also, I gotta get a few more emeralds, sorry, because I've got 30. Punched the guy in the face, so he's ripping me off. And I think I'm gonna go and get myself a whole bunch more sugarcane or melons or something. So there we go. Mending book acquired. Also, while I'm here, the first one that I did was this one over here, and he became a efficiency 5 villager. Give me a discount. So I prefer this guy. However, he doesn't have any mending, but that over there is a mega book. I mean, 63 is pretty bad, to be honest, but efficiency 5 is very useful. Obviously, once I build a few more of these tools, it might be very helpful for me to have. So I'll keep this guy here for a while until we eventually remove these farms. But for now, you're good. Get ready for a change of scenery. I'm going to be moving on from our tubes now to do some other sorts of stuff this episode, because of course the tubes can get quite a lot. That's why I decided I'd just put them in this first bit of the episode. Now, let's get into the rest of this stuff. We have got ourselves a mending book, and it looks very, very good. And you know what? I think I'm going to be putting it straight on this pickaxe. But we do have to go into a place which I bet if you were here for it, whoa, please don't fall into that right now. I do not need that. I've just worked my butt off to get this mending book. But how about this? Who forgot about this area? I come down here fairly regularly and I see it. I'm like, well, this has got so much more potential to it. I've got so many ideas for this. But this is an episode we did quite a while ago, and it's called Ender Architecture. And basically, I just wanted to make a cool kind of end style of building temples. I don't know, something like that. And I wouldn't mind doing some more of these sorts of things where you end up doing cool shapes and stuff. That's what I picture this place to be. But if you guys ever have an idea for this, please let me know, because I wouldn't mind doing some crazy things in here just to break up a few episodes once in a while, because it's got something to it. I just don't know what yet. Alrighty, get your palms ready and put them on your face right now, because I have just had the biggest facepalm moment ever. It's quite a trip for me to get to the end, and I've come all the way here, and I don't have an anvil. So we're gonna have to go all the way back home. I'm not gonna go there, that's way too loud. I'm gonna have to go all the way back home, get these combined, and then come back here to mend this up. Now I'll bring you to another area, and this is our second project of this project. So the first one was to get ourselves some librarians, to get ourselves the mending book, which check, very good. The next one is I want to get the villages around and about the world, and I want to just test out the idea of seeing how these villages pop out and eventually become part of a village. We're in the pirate area, which is pretty dead right now, but I think what would be really awesome is to have a few pirates walking around here, and I'm not 100% sure if I can change the biome here, and if I even want to change the biome here, but if we could get one of the villages to look a bit better because of the biome, I may be able to be persuaded on that, but I'm not too sure just yet. But that's a different later me story. Right now, what I think I want to do is I want to make a few villages pop out of here, and the way that I did that in my very first world, which I did mention a bit earlier, is where I came up with this idea, and it just didn't work very well, was a very over-the-top redstone contraption that would, for instance, have this little block over here pop up. The block would get pulled back, the villager would pop up out of it, and the block would close. So it was over-the-top complicated, and I think I could just do it way more simple and avoid the hassle, because that didn't work every time. Eventually they would collect up at the top if it didn't open or whatever, something lagged out. So what I'm thinking, before I go in there, is this pub over here, which is pretty neat. If you guys don't know it, it's the boat, house, and tower all in one pub, which I really like the look of it. It's just very messy, and it just suits a crazy pirate town that had the tower there. They put a ship on the land and built a little house on it. I really like that. And we've actually done nothing with it until today. So I've cleared these blocks out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fireplace in here without a fire. So what's going to happen is I'm going to run a tube from the center of the island all the way here, and the villagers will come up the tube over here, pop out, and hopefully at that stage should be populating this village as a pirate village. And the other cool thing with this, because I think it's a pretty cool idea. I'm not gonna lie, I really like this idea, and I'm sure someone's probably thought about it and done it themselves, but I haven't seen it done at all. So this will be first for me. So let's do those, that, and that. Those are the villages we want. We're gonna have a blacksmith, is that right? I think it's a blacksmith from that one there. We're gonna have weaponsmiths or toolsmith, I'm not too sure what they are. And then of course a cartographer. Of course you're gonna get a little bit of a surprise when you see what the grindstone villager is. If you do not know what it is, it's very, very cool. But what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll put them around here, or maybe somewhere in this as like a little storage room, which is good because I needed to hide this spot because I couldn't really do too much with it. And it serves a purpose. All I want to do here now, because we are inside the bar right now, just for some reference, is I just want to make a very simple little fireplace so that what we'll do is we'll have... Oh, well, hello there. I am actually now a little bit concerned about where you came from. That was unexpected. I was going to say, I've made this thing so that we can get mobs up here ridiculously fast. However... that wasn't meant to happen, but I have a suspicion of what that could be because of. So I'll have to go back down there. There's a little bit of redstone, and I think I might have forgotten to light up some area at some point. So that's not a big deal. But what I wanted to do was get this over here looking like a good old one of these fireplaces. Can I just put that there maybe? I'm just thinking of how I can do this to make it look like this. It looks a bit more like the entrance to a crypt or something right now. I don't know. You know what? Maybe, I don't know if I can get away with this, but if I could get away by putting one of those in there, if a villager pops up, would they jump out there? I think I need this gap. You know what? I'll just leave it as that. We won't come in here. We just won't look at it. It looks like they're coming out of a tomb. That's all right. We'll be fine with it. I'll think about a better way of doing that some other day. And of course, because I want the very first one to be the villager that I said will be cool with the grindstone, I'll put one of those there. So what I've got to do really quickly is I need to go underground there and have a look at why that could be happening. And then what we are going to do is we're going to send my one villager, ignore my birds, don't worry about them. They're lying. There is nothing there. They always just make ridiculous mob noises. So I've got a villager waiting for us. I need to give you a bit of context where we are. This is where I suspect the skeleton spawned, on this block here. And what we are waiting on is my ticket out of here. This is the villager's ticket out of here. Here it is. Right there, like that. So basically, because I couldn't find a consistent way of getting villagers into this tube, I came up with that little bit of redstone there, which basically pushes you in one block, pushes you in another block, and you come flying out of this tube here, which is fantastic. It works super fast. It means the villagers don't swim up slowly and take damage, and it's just great. So now that we've got that sorted out, and I can put my money on the fact that that was the block that the skeleton would have spawned on, I'm going to release this one villager, and then we can check out where they land and whether or not they come out, because I don't actually know whether this will work. So here's our first guy. He is waiting. This one should be a toolsmith, if I am correct. Gets dropped as a librarian. That's all right. We'll meet him over there. Here we are coming in. Let's see if there's a villager. I can't see anything through that window. So he might be lagging behind a little bit, in which case we will have to wait around. But let's see if I'll give it a minute or two. If I don't see a villager pop up here, I will be very sad, upset, and well, confused. Mostly confused. Hey, there he is. Look at that. It took actually a little bit more than 2 minutes, but I'm seeing a little bit of a problem. And that's the fact that this guy's not getting out of here. Does that help him at all? Bounce, bounce. You'll make it eventually. It actually took him forever to get rid of that librarian thing that he had. I guess maybe it's not until the village is actually on land that it detects it. I'm a little bit confused. Either way, I'll do one of these in... Where should I put it? I guess here. And then I'll put a bit of water. Actually, I'm a little bit confused of what I should be doing here. Maybe, yeah, maybe I'll put in a bit of water back there. I'll put in this sign over here, and the guy should be free. Right, I'm back, and he still has not escaped. So this should do the trick, if I'm correct. Right there. Go on. Get your profession. No, you're not going anywhere. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. That is awesome. That is exactly... Don't close the door on me. That is exactly why I wanted this villager. The pirate villager. Look at that. Yeah, you just keep pushing me forward. You're not going anywhere, all right? That is awesome. I'm so happy to see that, because I was looking at a few different villages, and I think that there is a better version. If I am correct, the jungle version of this looks a little bit better, but I'm not too sure if we would be able to do that. Maybe if we could get it to switch into a jungle villager and pull it across from the jungle, it might work, but I don't know how we would do that. And to be fair, I don't think it would add that much, because they're probably going to keep getting replenished as the zombies get to them. So it's better off just to keep it like this. But look at that. That is exactly what I'm picturing. Imagine now we've got this guy, and then we have a few more of them. Probably, I guess, what is that? 2 plus that plus that. So that's like 5 of these guys around, and they just keep this area looking lively and moving, and I really like that. So that's hopefully what we will get. I'm also going to make this an open hole in the wall eventually, and this used to be our storage room, but now it could easily be a little place for the pirates to sleep. So we actually give them beds and everything over here. I reckon that's going to be super cool. But you know what else is super cool? We've made it through an entire 2 episodes without building in the docks, and I'm itching to get back into those docks. So for today, I hope you guys have enjoyed the different sorts of episodes. We will be returning to the docks, as I say, and I'm looking very forward to it, because I think it's going to take a step up in the next episode. But for this episode, I will say goodbye to you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.